So of course, the next terms that we have is certificates. So payment certificates. So we hear a lot of payment certificates. So payment certificates are usually an assessment format that has been done by the engine by the it's the assessment format that has been done by the CA. So the CA will have their own assessment format, and then they will put down whatever the contractor has claimed, and then they'll put down whatever they have access, in a format that is approved by everybody. Then they will issue out what we call a payment certificate. So in that payment certificate, it said that the contractor, after valuation of work for that as of which date, and then there will be you have to, after deduct the retention sum, after deduct any performance bond, any deducting anything like insurances or anything that is being paid by the client for the contractor, in that particular interim payment, it will be deducted, even LAD, like I say. So once the amount is stated there, is put there that this is the amount that will be paid to the contractor as of this time, this period, date the 22nd of March, for example, or 1st of April, for example. Then from there, this certificate will be sent to the contractor, and the contractor needs to verify and agree with it, and then both parties sign, and the certificate will, together with the claim and all that, will go to the client. So this is like a verification work that the CA will do, you see, and this is to actually safeguard that it's actually safeguard the contractor and also the client in a way that, when you have the certificate that is approved, that is also agreed by the contractor, there's no argument there. And if for the contractor, if you want to argue, you get the argument done first before you don't sign the certificate. Once it's signed, that means that both parties agree that this is the amount of money that needs to be paid, and then the client is more in the safer condition because the verification work has been done, agreed by the contractor, and then they have certain amount of time to pay, you see. So overall, these interim certificates will be done first to the penultimate, second last, you see. And no, third last. Second last is penultimate, last is actually the final certificate. So final certificates, payment, final claims. Okay, so you have your final claims with your final certificates with your final payment. You have your penultimate claim with your penultimate certificates with your penultimate payment. And then you have your interim claim with your interim certificates with your interim payment. So this is the general points that, the contractual terms that we use for our money, how we pay, you see. In any contract, these are one of the most important things, like it's about payment. Contractor will need to fund your project. They are the one that will bring in machineries, material, and all sorts of requirements, to fulfill all sorts of requirements, things that will need to be there in order to carry out the work. You see, they have to use that money for the first 3 months or so before the first payment will even come, you see. So in contract, it is the responsibilities of the contractor to do the work accordingly, but it is the responsibilities and duties of the client to pay accordingly, the CA to certify and check and verify the claims and the work done, you see. So these are the duties and responsibilities of the client. The major contract is the work is this much, it costs this much, the client is buying from the contractor his services and his work, so you need to pay. It is the contractor's right. It's the right of the contractors to have payment. You see, you cannot not pay the contractor. It's the right of the client to have pay and then get the product, you see. You cannot not pay, you see, and get the product. That's not right, you see. Or in the sense that you cannot pay and then you didn't get the product. That is also wrong, you see. So either way, many issues are from payment. So in the whole contract, these are the typical terms that you will see when it comes to money issue. The other thing is talking about dealing with money, of course, is variation. variation of work, which I think we would prefer to explain that, because this as a variation will change the final amount of work, scope of work, which will change the final amount of money, the contract sum, you see. So at the end of the day, when you have a contract sum, this is something that you have to adhere to. So the work contract sum is regarding, when you tender, when you propose, when the client accept, you sign the contract, the sum of money that in total that needs to be paid to the contractor is called the contract sum. So this is something that is one first term. And then you have certificates, you have claims, you've also got payment. So these are 4 terms, okay? And then the other terms that is also quite commonly here is retention sum, performance bond. Performance bond is like this. When you have performance bond, you are actually, these are also another terms that you see a lot, you see. Performance bond is you're worried that the contractor halfway through the project, they don't perform, they run away. So you take 5% or 10% of the contract sum, you keep it until the end of the project, until they really perform, and then you release the money back to them. Of course, it can be in the form of real cash, meaning that in the payment, interim payment, you take away 10% of every payment, up to 10% even, or 5% of the contract sum as performance bond. But that is very, very serious breakdown in the cash flow of the contract. So what happened now is the contractor will put his property his sum of money his fixed in the bank, under his name. And then the amount is performance bond. The amount is the same as 5% of the contract sum or 10% of the contract sum that he's embarking onto with the client. So that amount, that value, the amount is put in the bank, locked in the bank, and then the bank will issue what we call a banker's guarantee. The banker's guarantee will give to the client. The client will keep that piece of paper. If they need to activate it under certain condition, they can go and take the money and use it to sort of repair the damage, because if the contractor runs away, if the contractor didn't perform or whatever, then at least there's some form of money there that can help to relieve a little bit of the client's financial stress, in that sense, when the project is not going, you see. So performance bond can be in the form of banker's guarantee. So this is another term that we see, retention sum. And the other terms that we will see is provisional sum. Provisional sum is basically sum of money that is not confirmed. The scope of work is not confirmed. So you can have a lump sum contract but a provisional sum, meaning that maybe piling, you only pay the amount that you pile. So in that case, that amount is called provisional sum. So provisional sum is part of a contract that the scope of work has not been fully confirmed. So we have that called provisional sum. Okay, and it can be lump sum plus provisional sum. It can, if it's BQ, then it's together. It's like a BQ contract already. So that is together with the rest of the other items that is also not sure. That is by measurement already. The entire contract is by measurement. But when you have a fixed amount of work, but only one portion is considered as remeasurement, that is provisional sum. Contingency sum is the amount that the client will set aside if they need to do variation work, they need to add on, they feel like it's called emergency money. So contingency sum, provisional sum, they all have sum at the back. Retention sum, they all have the term sum, SUM, at the back, but they are all different things. So retention means that you retain the money so that you don't pay everything up. So you keep a little bit so that the contractor will work harder, kind of thing, and make sure that they are there, you see, for deferred liability period and all that. So that is called retention. Contingency is a specific amount. It's like the whole contract sum plus a contingency, 500,000, 1 million contingency. So that is because sometimes they expect some form of additional work, or they feel like the contract sum is not sure, so they put a contingency sum.